Thank you for tuning in to the 2020 Storage Operations Report for the Port Bienville Railroad. The Port Bienville Railroad is operated by the Hancock County Port and Harbor Commission, and today we're going to give you a brief overview of our storage operations. We're going to start off by talking about our geography, a little bit about where we're located, some of the high-end statistics on our railroad overview, storage yard summary. We'll give you a drone tour, talk about our contract management, and also how we deal with imbalances. Port Bienville Railroad is located at the Port Bienville Industrial Park on the intercoastal waterway between New Orleans and Gulfport. A little more deep dive into that will show you that we're connected via CSX to 6 Class 1 railroads over in New Orleans, as well as to deep water ports at Gulfport and New Orleans and beyond. We have about 8,000 switches per year, including about 16 and a half miles of track, 14 major tenants at Port Bienville, and 8 of those use rail services. Our staff includes 15 people operating 3 locomotives 7 days a week and on holidays when requested. We have 7 storage yards, which hold 69-foot cars, total of about 480 of those, and we have a last chance storage area down at our western interchange siding for about 67 cars. Before we get started into talking a little bit more about our contract storage, we're going to discuss with you and give you a visual overview of many of our storage yards using some drone footage that we shot. You're looking right now at our lower bay storage facility, which is located between our interchange with CSX and the Port Bienville Industrial Park. This lower bay storage yard contains 284 cars, and as you can see, that is of about mid-April of 2020, we are fully loaded. This storage yard is a principal storage location for most of our inbound and outbound switches, and the main line, as you can see, is off to the left-hand side of the yard. We just acquired 735 acres of real estate on the north and on the south side of this yard for future growth and expansion. Coast Electric serves our industrial park. Their substation is right there at the main entrance to the Port Bienville Industrial Park, which we're flying over now. You can see some of the logistics tenants right inside the park. Commercial plastics recycling being one of those. There's a small spur that's unused by them that we use to store cars on. Little belly track here in the middle as we follow our main down the road. You'll notice this area, we're going to come back to it in terms of our tour. But for now, we're going to venture off to the left, and we're going to visit the DAC lead and the Site 6 storage facility. So this main track you're seeing off to the left is our main lead into DAC Americas, our largest rail user. And about a year or so ago, we built a siding here. We call this the Site 6 siding, which holds 22 spaces. The area between Port and Harbor Drive off to the far right and this rail spur is what we call Site 6. It's a project-ready location and has substantial interest from many customers who are looking to develop new plants there. We also believe that this right-of-way here for the railroad will be an extensive new possibility for additional storage and sidings, as well as customer support for the Site 6 areas when that comes online. As you'll see, our 22-yard storage stops right about here, and you can see the lead coming into DAC Americas. It's not uncommon for DAC to switch dozens of cars per day with us, so we either pull those out or they push those out of their main yard storage out onto this lead, and then this lead serves into our switches into our main, and we take them off to destinations for where their logistics are needed. You'll notice some of the little logos popping up as we take our aerial tour. These are the logos of some of our tenants that are in the park. You just saw DAC Americas there to the top left. Right at the very top of the screen, we'll see the stacks for Calgon Carbon, one of the world's largest activated carbon producers here at Port Bienville. We're going to come back to where we started at the beginning of the park here in just a second and start to take a tour back up into two of the other yards. As you can see, we're back here right over the main entrance coming right in. Right above us and to the right is Ochsner Medical Clinic and our McDonald Training Center, and then SNF Polychemie, a French chemical manufacturer. That's their plant right in front of us. We affectionately refer to this area as the Poly area, which contains 30 railcar storage spaces regulated for hazardous materials. Poly is one of the few companies that handles hazardous materials in the park, and their storage sidings are dedicated for hazardous storage right there. As we spin around to our turning basin, you'll notice our coal transload facility off to the top left, which we quickly breeze by. It's SSA Marine, handles that terminaling. And as we go into the turning basin, where we have 69 spaces, it's comprised of two types of facilities. The first is this lead and the storage track that goes all the way to the back of the property. And then we have what we call our shipyard siding, which we'll show you in just a minute. But as you can see, this storage yard virtually full. I think we're only missing a car or two in here. And we also have some great opportunities nearby. The Gray Insurance Company owns the building and property to the left of this image. And when we spin around here at the bottom of the yard, you will notice our shipyard siding and some of our other tenants back in this area. So this shipyard leg comes right around. We have Gulf Basin Recycling's offices right here on the left, S&F up to the top left, SSA Marine and their coal transload facility here to the right, and then the shipyard, which is a privately owned transload facility right in front of us. We're back out to that interchange again near the Poly area, and we're headed down the main through the heart of Port Bienville. Off to the right, you'll see South Coast Electric, which has been bought by Bear Integrated Systems, a maritime electronics firm. So this is Port and Harbor Drive. This is our main line. Site 6 and DAC are off to the left. You'll notice a couple of other tenants here at Port Bienville off to the right. And as you can see, the truck speeding by. It's a busy day in Port Bienville as we are loading all kinds of product and moving logistics through the park. Custom Commodities, a trucking company, their trucking headquarters, they primarily support DAC in the region. MAC LLC, a polymer ammunition manufacturer. This large building to the top center of the screen is the former Manufab facility. It's our only vacant property, privately held on the property. 76,000 square foot building, which is for sale. The Port and Harbor siding is what you're visualizing here as we come down the main. To the left, you'll see this siding. This siding stores 26 cars. We're not going to take you all the way to the end. We're going to pivot right around and come back into our Site 4 facility. Again, you'll see the MAC LLC building, and then right next to that, Custom Commodities, the trucking and logistics firm. You'll see our siding coming into Site 4, which has a few cars on it there, as we come into the Site 4 location. The small two-car spur that you see here at the bottom left in your screen that's coming into the center is a lease we have with INEOS. INEOS is a subcontractor to DAC, and they have a small nitrogen tank there for processing and transloading those cars. We have 25 spaces presently in Site 4, but this site will be under development for a major new barge to rail cross-dock bulk service, as well as liquids, which we plan for this location, and truck-related logistics as well. You'll see DAC America's ethylene glycol transload facility in the Key Slip. They actually are working today. And this general area will be our 2020 Restore Project location. Coming back out to the Manufab building and along our main, we're going to hustle down here and look at those 26 spaces that we have along Port and Harbor siding as we proceed toward the mouth of the port at Port Bienville. And as you'll see coming along here, notice we've got a lot of wet areas, challenging development environment down here near the coast. And on our right, you'll see the Port and Harbor offices. This is our port office building and maintenance facility, and right next to it to the right are utilities. The siding that you see coming off to the right is for the Anderson's Rail Group. That's their wash rack facility. And other than the main and a lead here for Sabic and Jindal, the Andersons lease this entire yard for storage and maintenance of rail cars, and that's their maintenance building right there. So all that rail that you see in front of you belongs to the Andersons. Jindal Tubular, a large spiral coil steel pipe manufacturer, off there to the right. And you can see on the side track down to the right there, you'll see those flat cars awaiting to be fed into Jindal so that they can load pipe on it for outbound destinations. The second track from the right is our main that serves the bottom end of the port. As we come here now to the end of the rail line for Port Bienville, what you'll notice here is a scattering of cars around. We call this the Linea area storage facility. It has room for approximately 25 cars. Goodnight Terminal Services, which is the building off to the right, is the principal user of this area today for rail services. They have their own dedicated siding, which is that curved track to the immediate right. And then we have some of their cars stored out there waiting to be fed into their service business. Right behind Goodnight Terminal Services, you'll see Warehouse Services Incorporated. They are a truck logistics based freight business. As we come along the lead here, we're coming into Sabic. This is the Sabic lead right next to our main dock and canal area at the mouth of the port. Sabic, our second largest customer in terms of switching and storage, and this is their main plant here. Beautiful day flying around Port Bienville today. So we do have approximately 596 cars committed to storage today. At 69 foot per car, that only really leaves us about 480 spaces available. So we have a current storage deficit today. We do have a last resort storage area near our western interchange siding for about 67 cars. But we make up our imbalances through a process of constructive placement tariffs. These send price signals to the market. We're also pretty lucky because even though we manage for 69 feet cars, we usually average about around 60. So that picks us up about an extra 4,000 to 5,000 feet of storage track on an average day. We have our last resort storage down at the interchange. We place calls and letters to tenants when we have a little bit of a storage imbalance issue. When we really get serious congestion, we allow the preemption of arrival of cars. We call that embargoing. That's on a temporary basis to relieve severe congestion. Of course, we always have contract enforcement. And the next step for us is really new track construction with the demand pressures we have at the park today. Either Port Bienville Railroad's going to have to construct some new storage track, or customers are going to have to do that as they grow and expand. So that's a little bit of an overview of our 2020 storage business at Port Bienville, and a beautiful tour and a beautiful day down at the port. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at portairspace.com.